We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
And welcome to the program. King of Podcasts here with you once again. Thank you for listening again to the website, kingofpodcasts.com. I was trying to think about what to go and bring up on the program because I had a few different options. And one of the options I brought up that I was looking at, there was a number of things. So sugar daddy sites, we're going to get into that tonight. But I also looked at some other things that would have been interesting, but I figure it would be a little bit too much to go into. Florida is now the worst state for dating, according to a new study. I also have discussions about, an interesting story, and I'll probably bring it up a little bit later on. For children that have same-sex parents, that the majority will identify themselves as heterosexual. So while they'll see two same-sex parents in their life, one being a dominant, one being a submissive, as a mother and father dynamic, that they still might come away with becoming heterosexual and not becoming homosexual like the parents. Interesting psychological study, but I'll table that for a little bit later on. But what I want to talk about now is this. Sugar daddy sites versus the traditional desperate dating sites. If you didn't catch it yet, I did a story on dating sites as a supporters club episode here on the program. If you want to go and look for that, you can go right now to kingofpodcasts.com and you will find the story there where I lay it out there in the supporters club section. And I laid out an argument, put about a good 20-minute episode together to talk about it. And I want to go ahead and leave that all to you to go ahead and take a look for yourselves. Would you prefer to go and keep going after desperate dating apps to try to help you find love, or take the option that there's a new study coming out that says that polyamorous relationships are becoming much more prominent, and that Gen Z is starting to get much more caught up into using that? That people identifying as polyamorous has tripled in the last decade. So the idea of polyamory being an option because you can't find love and relationships in just one person, so diversify. That's the idea. Now, since the dating app game has not worked well, we have to look at alternatives. One of those was polyamory. As we mentioned on the program, again, you can find the episode, a little donation to the program, $2 a month, and you get this program. You can also, offer as a little donation to the program if you would like to. And then also you get additional episodes that I put up on a regular basis. So I hope you'll consider that. Again, kingofpodcasts.com. You'll find a nice little story about it and so much more. Now, in my life, I have been around dating sites and dating apps almost as long as I've been an adult. Okay? So 30 years. Tonight is a pretty easy subject because for me, I don't have to go through any kind of script. This is all personal. This is all off the cuff. This is from me. So going back to Love at AOL, Yahoo Personals, moving on to eHarmony when it first came out, Neil Clark Warren, the 64 points of attraction, all these different things it had, the personality tests that really worked. And then moving along to different other niche sites that came along in the 2010s, The Big and the Beautiful, using Plenty of Fish when it was really popular and free and good, Tinder 10 years ago, and then Bumble and Hinge. And that's been the bulk of the dating sites that I've used up until about 2018, 2019. Around 2018, 2019, I started getting a lot of things where, for whatever reason, when I tried to go ahead and kind of mass text or mass message certain women to talk to them, get initial, just a test statement, just to see if they would actually respond back. I'm never the kind of person that wants to write an original, unique message off the bat. And sometimes I would just go and give my number. Hey, give me a call, text me. And someone, felt deterred by it and just said, no. I get reported, I get banned. And then one of the things was that, if I was looking for a situationship, like if it was something where, they were looking for friends with benefits. Okay. Was it a quid pro quo? Something like that situation. And if someone didn't feel that way either, again, banned. Like I'm banned by most dating apps right now in general because I've abused them. because I wasn't getting anything that I wanted. And I felt like I was just kind of wasting my time once I get into a membership. Yeah, what, $10, $20, $30 membership a month. And I felt like there's nothing coming out of it. So like, why should I keep going with that? And I just stopped. And, if you're talking to somebody and it doesn't work out, they want to report you and they want to just kind of like just cancel you. So they did that to me too. And then I started opting towards sugar dating sites. And if you hear me on this program talking about the fact that these sites, I have said it since the beginning of this program, and I will continue to say it now. Sugar dating sites are probably you have the most possibility of success. The most possibility of success in finding someone. Because the truth, the honesty, the women that are more quality that are available to date, to be honest with you, are on those sites. And the reason why is because the women that have gone onto the sugar daddy sites have abandoned the dating sites, the traditional dating sites, because they've not worked out for them. They've gotten to the point where they could be at one different part of the spectrum or the other. They could be just saying, well, I've already got off a bad relationship, somebody I've already met off a dating site or just met in person, and I'm just done with it. I want to get what I want. The feminist ideology comes into play. Oh, I just want to get what I want. I want to be able to, be successful, live my life. Somebody take care of me for a while because I took care of somebody else. You hear those kind of things all the time. And in the profiles, you read them all the time. And so what happens is that you have women that are just looking for something better. And sometimes, believe it or not, they might be looking for a sugar daddy site, but there are a lot of times more than not. Unless they are flat out just looking for someone to spend on them without any consideration of who you are, what you are, and what you're all about, you got to look at those, realize there's findoms out there, some that don't even realize they are findoms, and you just need to kind of sway away from them. Unless that's what you want. Hey, depraved and debaucherous also includes you too. I'm just saying, if you want to be happy, and you want to feel like you're getting something more out of this, I want to recommend that to you, as to you just go ahead and just get yourself into something that's more controlling and manipulative, and you feel like you're getting something out of it, but you're really not. It's those kind of things. For the most part, on these sugar daddy sites, I spent what I spent on the membership. What happens is, you might go ahead and offer to help a girl out if they might ask for something, and, a little bit of charity here and there. But it was never anything more than just a little bit, if I did. Because, to be on these sites, you have to at least go ahead and contribute a little bit. And if I did that, that's what I decided to do. If I had it. If I'm a guy that, is trying to keep my money aside and doing all this and that, there'll be times where, listen, I have a little bit of ancillary income. I try to put aside as much as I can for a little bit of depravity and debauchery. Okay. I partake in this as well. I'm not an idiot. I'm pretty obviously into this because I am. Remember, all these different subjects I have some type of an attachment to because I've known about it. When it starts with pornography, it's because I got to work in the industry for about a year and a half, working podcasting in it, and getting to know the people in the industry, getting to know people behind the scenes, all that. When it comes to all these other things, well, we just kind of do things when we're growing up. When you don't have dating relationships, you find the depravity and debauchery that's out there. And one of the things that's more important than anything else is that from the sugar daddy sites, you might not believe this or not, but the benefits there are to dating on the sugar daddy sites is that you're finding the largest ratio of young women. Okay? Young women of all races, creeds, backgrounds, intuitions, interests, everything. Everything. And believe it or not, there is a growing amount of men and women who are either transgender, transsexual, or, just they consider themselves non-binary, whatever there might be. And you also got to be careful with that. And for some of you that, some of you guys out there that or looking for someone from another country. Some of these sugar daddy sites are filled with people from other countries. So I've gotten to talk to girls from South Africa, from Africa itself, from Europe, pick a country, Sweden, Belgium, Luxembourg, Spain, South America, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, UK, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, wow. And it's nice to go and talk and get to know some people. And, hey, it's pretty easy to go and get on WhatsApp or Telegram and just kind of communicate and you get to know somebody. It's like, gives me a little more world-round view. And some of it is just really just talk. And kind of just getting decided, knowing what some of these girls are and how they tick and why are they here. Because my whole thing was always a social experiment for me for the most part. If I really was going to meet somebody that was going to eventually, get together with and say, oh, well, let's go ahead and meet up. Let's go ahead and, make plans to fly into each other's where we are, fly them in here or fly to them, if that comes to be that, right? The one thing that made me kind of interested in the whole sugar daddy idea is because a former best friend of mine, which, where he moved away and, before we had our falling out, which was right around COVID, a lot of things just happened where it was a disagreement and, never got resolved, but that's fine. One of the things I did respect of him is that his idea of meeting someone off a dating site, another part of the world, she is from the Philippines and was a teacher, educator in Thailand. And she was trying to send money back to the family and doing for herself, and spent 4 years communicating with her overseas, first off through OkCupid, then WhatsApp. And they would talk several times a day. And then eventually, he's kind of out of sorts when it comes to income, but he decided, hey, I'm going to drop down a couple $1,000s. I'm going to get a ticket. I'm going to fly to Thailand. I'm going to go see her. And he made plans to meet her for a month. And like I said, you can meet girls like this, believe it or not. If you are looking for girls that are like the passport bros would like, okay, if you're looking for a woman that is looking for marriage or relationships, some pretty good quality women in other countries, believe it or not, you find them on a sugar daddy site more than you would find on a traditional dating site. Because there's incentive, right? And because of the fact that women are going to be attracted to that, it's like ladies' night at a club. Clubs are not a big deal anymore, but how you used to have, clubs or bars and all, and the reason why you can get ladies to come on in is because they're getting something from it. They're getting perks. So the perk of going onto a sugar daddy site is the chance for money. It's not necessarily they're going to be guaranteed money. It's the opportunity to get money or something else out of it, some kind of gift. Something off their Amazon wish list or whatever it is, or get them to subscribe to their OnlyFans account. All that kind of stuff goes along. There's a lot of business behind there as well. You just have to go ahead and go along and see who you see out there. Because you'd be surprised how many girls are out there that would just like a relationship. And they're really not asking for much. They're not asking for more than they would ask for if you were with them as a boyfriend or girlfriend in the first place. Can you help me out with a bill here and there? Can you help me out with, so I can get some, whatever. If I had to go ahead and gauge the amount of money that if you really wanted to go and be a sugar daddy to these girls and you wanted to go and really support them, they're willing to go and keep their jobs. They're willing to go and keep their careers or studying or whatever it is. If I had to go and say on average what they would be asking for, the real asking price, maybe $500-$600 a month. Because if some of these girls were able to go and get $100 to $200 a week supplemented to them to help them out. This is including single mothers, where there are plenty up there. Plenty of single mothers. And if they just got that kind of support, that would make them happy. They would be happy with just that. Because believe it or not, there's of course girls that are going to be commanding a whole lot more. And if they're asking for a whole lot more, or they're just asking for money right off the bat, then they don't care. They're just in this for the money and that's it. And that's fine. But you want to sway away from those. But a lot of younger women that you think maybe will have a chance, and a lot of college girls at that point in time, getting away from their parents, getting away from relationships they were in, and just trying to find themselves. before they go in a direction. Sometimes you try to catch them in a direction before they go into a direction that's going to just ultimately change them, because they're going to, like the trauma they've gone through, they never overcome, they never recovered from, and they never try to do anything about that. If they could find somebody good in their life, you might be able to hold on to them so they don't break down and lose themselves, lose their beauty, lose who they are, their identity, and just become something else that's like nothing even like who they are. And they just go down a path of like just, trying to pacify or trying to somehow just cope with what they're dealing with without ever really confronting it. No acceptance, commitment, nothing. No kind of therapy at all. And I honestly believe that maybe about 90% of women that choose to go ahead and either start doing a lot of, dramatic changes to themselves, whether it's a BBL, veneers, any kind of beauty enhancements, breast implants, things like that, tattoos, lots of ink, changing of hair color, piercings, septums, all of it. I believe that 90% of the women that do that, it is a coping mechanism. It's just a way of saying to themselves, well, they're just happy they can't be happy with who they are. If there's not enough makeup on her, there's not enough things to distract away from her of what she naturally looks like, that's what some women are going to do. And you're going to see that on some of those sugar daddy sites. And some you're going to catch them before they go that far. Because someone will do that. They'll consider that. But now I speak from experience because of the fact that I've gotten off those sites. Probably about 5 years, I let myself kind of like just go in, check certain sites out, and see what did better than others. I could write a book about what I've done on this. But what happened was that I was looking to go ahead and renew on one site, which is one of the more affordable sites, and one of the ones that actually worked better. And I had more success on it. But the problem is that something happened with their payment system that it got compromised. So when I tried to go ahead and put down a credit card on it, the site that was being charged that I saw in the statement didn't match what was being put down. And so I got the credit card company to come in, cancel that pending transaction out. And I just said it because I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I don't want to get myself caught up in that. And I don't want to go ahead and, something's going wrong here. It's not the same. The pricing was different. And I just said, okay, I'm out. Peace out. And I was kind of like on the fence, but did I want to go back and ever renew? And I'm not. Not only did I not bother to renew, I deleted the profile. Not even deactivated. I deleted the whole damn thing. And I did with all the other sites. Cold turkey. And part of it is just because, again, it was a social experiment for me. It's really not for me. I'm not the kind of person to go jet setting or try to meet, but it's like, it was my way of just interacting with other women. Because I felt like I need to go ahead and build it's for communication, basically. Because it is really tough to go ahead and just let myself be opened up and like just, other than small talk, I don't open up that much to many people these days. Family, close family, yes. I don't keep to a lot of close friends. I don't do that either. It's really changed a lot in my life because I've kind of isolated myself a little bit more. I've been more of a loner more than anything. But I'm still like trying to be social butterfly. I still talk. I still like, I'll still talk to people, just a small talk. It's not anything more than that. Like, even anybody asking me about what I do and all this kind of stuff, I just kind of I don't know. I just defer. I kind of just always want to focus on the people that I'm talking to. I'm always more about servicing and accommodating for the person I'm talking to. Less about myself. Now, it's nothing to do with me and, what I feel about myself. I feel like I got a good, healthy ego. I feel happy about what I do. I love what I do for a living and, things like that. But it's like, I'm still in process. And so I never really talk about myself. It's more always about the girl, about who I'm talking to. And on these sugar daddy sites, it was refreshing to just hear different takes and different stories and just, understand, where people are coming from and what they went through. and learning a lot from just the psyche of women that are on these sites and understanding who they are. In my experience, there were there were some girls that I met that were very deceptive and just, didn't have a heart. They were soulless. They were callous. They were black-hearted. That's okay. That's normal. That's part of the course. But also, what kind of demons, what kind of things have they gone through to make them feel so cynical and just feel so, black-pilled? They just don't care anymore. Just don't have any concern, no heart, no compassion. That's the part. One thing I will tell you that you can meet a lot of women on these sugar daddy sites that are very people-pleasing, very sweet, and very, just loving. And, if you took the time to go and get to know, you could really kind of win a girl's heart over. Because there's some real hopeless romantics on those sites. Believe that or not. And like I said, when it comes to the passport bros, a lot of girls you'll see from other sites, especially from Africa, a lot. Nigeria, Kenya, Botswana I've seen, just all that. And some real sweet, wonderful women that are on there. That was the one thing I really enjoyed, is that there were just some really, really nice girls that, just got put in a bad place. And, they possess beauty, they possess youth. It was nice to go and encourage them, to make them feel like, listen, you have the same level of attraction and beauty and youth like every other girl out there. Don't settle yourself for less. And don't let anybody else go and kind of bring you down to feel like you can't do that. That's the part that was too. It was nice to be able to do that part, because that was the part I enjoyed, when I talked to women in the first place, was building them up, kind of making them feel better about themselves. I enjoyed that. So it was something for me to kind of just be like a cathartic kind of thing. It's that part of me that wants to just be complimentary and just, I can't help it. It's part of a simp I am. I know that. I'm not afraid of it. I can say this is true. But compared to regular dating apps, the dating apps, traditionally, I felt deception. I feel a lot of women on there are just completely they probably got run through the coals a lot. I'll honestly say that most of the dating apps have a lot of girls that are not necessarily very attractive. The truth is, you definitely can tell the difference on traditional dating apps, whether it's a Tinder, an OkCupid, a Bumble, or a Hinge. You don't see a whole lot of level of attraction or beauty or even young women as you would on the sugar daddy sites. Okay? For most guys, I would imagine they want younger women. You want the kind of girls you want that you see on TikTok or Instagram, these social media types? Yeah, the sugar daddy sites have them. Believe it or not, more. The possibility of finding women that you might have a chance and take a gamble on, of American women that might be better off for you that you can't find here? Yeah, that's the other part. If you're looking in different parts of the country, in Florida, listen, it's just the damage. Like I said, there's a story I'm going to talk about in a minute about Florida being the worst place for dating. And it's true. I'll explain that why. Might have to do a supporters club episode about that, but I will just say this. When women know they can come down here where anything they want in this weather and the status seeking, the clout chasing that's down here, especially in South Florida, women feel like, well, they're entitled and privileged already. And, the kind of things that they can do here, they don't need guys that might be successful, but if they're not flashing the money, or they're not just coming out here looking like an influencer and just showing off, they don't want anything to do with them. That's that part where, you hear the whatever podcasts or the Fresh and Fit podcasts of the world, the alpha male ones, right? That they're really kind of they red pill and they just say, you can't be serious or romantic with certain women. They're all hoes and this and that. Yeah, there's that part here. There's quite a bit of that here. Sure. A lot of materialism down here. But don't get me wrong. There's a lot of beautiful women here. Doing part-time work as an Uber driver, I've had plenty of beautiful women that I've seen come across that I've gotten the chance to go and drive for wherever. And success and just, world is their oyster. Can't say how many times I've seen just certainly just an exhibition of beauty, like models coming out. Okay. I still can't forget I had 5 basketball players playing at Palm Beach State College, all Swedish. Like it was like a Swedish bikini theme moment. It was like that. I have a picture of it, of all of them in the car with me, singing the Tones and I's dance record when it first came out. That's like 2018. And I picked them up at the college, took them over to a club on Clematis Street in downtown West Palm Beach. And it was fun. Like every one of them was just strikingly gorgeous. Or the bachelorette parties, all that kind of stuff going on. But those kind of women, you could find them on these sites. Number one, we know is because of the fact that the price point, a higher barrier of entry, makes every woman believe this is more serious. The possibility of getting some other money because they're willing to spend, $89 or $90 or $100, $120 a month on Seeking, or down to as low as like $50 on a Sugar Babies or Sugar Daddy site, okay? Or pay for credits at some crazy price. Like I would tell you this, don't go for the sites that make you pay for credits. Not worth it. Like be limited to like 50 or 100 approaches? No. You want to have unlimited approaches. So Seeking, hands down, is still the best site to go to. They are the best. And if you ever get an opportunity and you've signed up for a membership before, or that you try to sign up for a free membership and just trying to check it out for yourselves, if they give you the opportunity to get a free hour, take advantage of it. But, book it at the right time. And just for that hour, just get as many messages out as you can. And talk to as many girls as you want. And get them to write back to you. And see what happens to that. All the ones that are online anyway. And there's always girls online on the Seeking. There's just so many that are just waiting to be heard from. Because the other thing, too, is that the percentage of success for a girl looking for a sugar daddy on these sites is about 5-10%. A lot of girls don't find anyone. When I've asked the question, have you ever had a sugar daddy? Plenty of them have said no. Plenty of them have said they never even got to that point. They would just say, they had a boyfriend that really treated them and spoiled them. Right? They'll get that part. But they're not saying sugar daddy. And I believe it. I believe that's actually most partly true. For dating sites, you have women that have basically just gotten themselves down to the point where they don't want to look, you don't want to dress like any certain way. They feel like their insecurities have taken the best of them. That's the worst part about this. The women, by the time they get to the dating apps, if they're in their 30s or 40s, they've either gotten through some major manipulation or some major narcissistic damaged kind of guys or abuse or whatever there is. And it doesn't matter what fiery hoops they put you through. Like if you want to think you're going to go in and get to go and know them, and then you're eventually going to go and get to bed with them in like about 3 dates, good luck. That's not going to happen. You might not even get to that point. You've asked yourself, do you think you're going to get to the point where you're going to like get to maybe where you get closer to them for marriage or relationships? No. And I try to think about what sites might have worked better for me or not. I mean, even Coffee Meets Bagel was okay, but it still was like very limited on what you can get. And the other part too is that, if you're on a dating app hoping to find somebody local within 50 to 100 miles of you, good luck on that, because that's really hard to find too. Because most of those sites are not really good at that either. And for the most part, some people have already gotten used to the idea, just like social media, I'll just fly to you. I'll spend a weekend with you, whatever. Spend money on a trip for a plane ticket and a hotel, or you get to meet with them, or they stay with them, whatever it is, and you do that. But that's also quite a journey to go through that as well. So when I try to throw pros and cons, again, sugar daddy sites, a lot of younger women for guys. The barrier to entry gives you more access to them. And also they will be much more available online for you to meet with them. And on some of these sites, you want to be able to make sure that you are sorting out the newest members. The ones that are going to be already have more momentum or more interest on checking out the site on a regular basis. And for the most part, you'll get that first entry of, conversation, text back and forth or whatever. You might not get the FaceTime or get on a phone call with them right away, but you know what? You just work your way through. But if you have some wherewithal, some means, and if you want to go in long and like help a little bit, feel like you can be a little bit generous to a girl that like you're just getting to know, and They ask you if you can send them something through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, whatever. Well, you can do it if you want, because, you're trying to invest in the possibility that maybe something will happen. Because remember, it's like the same idea if you were going to meet them just meet them for a date. The thing is that the women on these sugar daddy sites are a little more conducive to, if you want to meet up with them, and eventually, after a couple of months, you get to talk to them, they're probably much more open to the idea of, well, let's meet up and make a weekend out of it, or whatever it is. Trust me, that's worked as well. And I think the chance for love, seriously, is better off on a sugar daddy site than a dating site. I'm just telling you, if you have given yourself to the point where you feel really disturbed by the fact that you can't find anyone you want to meet, ladies, I'm telling you, I would tell you this. Don't even worry about the fact that there's like this idea, that you're going to feel like some distinction or some kind of feeling derogatory because, just like if a girl wants to go and get a private Snapchat or OnlyFans or put themselves out there some other way. Okay. The bottom line is, on a sugar daddy site, until you get to the part where you're going to be complying with a sugar daddy because there might be expectations, or if not, remember, how many girls have I told you about when we talk about these episodes on sugar daddies that there's no sex involved? And a lot of times there are. There might going to be quite a few guys that will not, force that issue. So that's why there's been the appeal of plenty of girls that will go onto the sugar daddy sites knowing nothing comes out of it. They might actually get a little something from it, a little bit of benefit, and they have done nothing to get for that. Just a conversation, just a little bit of attention given to the guy. And I can get that too. There's a plethora, guys, of women of all types that you can look for, that you would love to find at the club or you can find going out. There are plenty of beautiful women on those sites. And ladies, if you're looking to find, I don't know what the guy's side is when it comes to women looking for men on these sites, but if you're looking for guys that are just, they've done something with themselves to the point where they can actually afford to put some money down on these sites, tells you there's something there. And it's a difference between doing the $500 matchmaking services, which I don't believe in that at all. I don't think there's going to be any success rate on that whatsoever. And maybe I'll bring that matchmaking expert back on here again to talk about that. But I'm telling you, I think there's just a better chance you can go and find somebody on a sugar daddy site. After all my years, 5 years experimenting on social sugar daddy sites, and over almost 30 years doing the traditional dating sites, I can tell you hands down today, if you want to meet somebody online for dating, and it's not through sliding DMs, and you don't think you can find any way to find anyone that you like in person, let alone make the approach in person, then go ahead and go to the sugar daddy sites. I'm just telling you by experience. It works. Like if I really wanted to put the effort into it, I could have done that. But, for me, it was just to try to get, the chance just to talk, communicate something. I feel like I was interacting with somebody else. Of women that I was interested in, by the way. These are the only ones that I was interested in. The ones that I felt like were my type. Now, that's not necessarily the type I should have, but like it's the type I want. Right? And if they fit my type, I went along with it anyway. Because at least the fantasy, at least the dream of it was better than the reality of not having anything at all. Because that's where some of us are, especially guys. It's got to be tough for certain guys to go and come out here and, just continue to go along with their lives. No relationships at all like myself. Or have come out of relationships and just giving up completely. And just saying to yourselves, well, I'm not doing it anymore. It's just like, I'm giving up. But there are some of those guys that we got to do something with ourselves. We just can't, we have to at least try to see if there's anything out there for us. And hopefully there's some more changes that come up from women that maybe we get a chance to meet somebody that we want in our lives. Maybe the singles are not going to be so hard to find. Maybe the girls will give us a bit better approach. Maybe they'll need to shoot their shot, or they need to just go ahead and make sure they don't give up on somebody that they're interested in, and at least put enough signals out there to make it overwhelmingly clear that you're interested in them. And maybe you'll find the guy that you want to find in your life. Because if not, the guys are going to just do other things. we're just going to go off and find somewhere else to go and, get our jollies. Or at least feel like we're not completely alone. We'll find some place to get depraved and debaucherous.